Tu commences maintenant.
Ouais. Good evening, good morning, hello, welcome.
Hello, good morning,
Hello,
or good evening.
This is Mana. I'll be together with Jean-François hosting the evening and comment the race. Today it's the third race of the World Series 2023. Today we're flying in Morocco for a beautiful flight over the Atlas mountain range that Jean-François knows well and will tell us a little bit about. It should give beautiful sceneries and I assume good conditions. Again, Jean-François, you'll tell us about the weather for the day. So the World Series is a virtual World Gliding Championship that is actually organized in coordination with the FAI and the IGC. There's been 2 races, Canada, first Mexico and Canada, for a total of 16 races, the last one being December of 2023. Jean-François, you give us some background on where pilots will be flying today?
Okay, today we'll be very happy to fly in Morocco. Morocco, for those who are not living nearby this place, Morocco is situated on the northeast of Africa, and there is one coastline being along the Mediterranean Sea, and another coastline being very long along the northwest of Africa. And so this is a very open to the sea type of land. So there is almost 1,000 kilometers of coastline, 1/3 of the Mediterranean and 1/3 of over the line of Atlantic. And nearby is the Canary Islands. And the specific of this country is the northwest side is pretty temperated and quite humid in winter and spring. Pretty hot on summer, but not that hot. And there is a large chain of mountain going from southwest to northeast and dividing the country into different climates. So the north, as I said earlier, is humid and pretty temperated, and the southeast and also the coastline in the south is very dry, is desertic, and we will have a sense of this kind of climate when we fly today during the first.
So how does the climate affect soaring conditions? Is it a good place to be a glider pilot?
Yes. So we have one specific season for gliding over there is spring. Because in spring we have very, very often a special wind coming from the Sahara, meaning from southeast, and called Chergi. Chergi in Arabic means coming from the east, so that means that's coming from southeast, and it's just facing the Atlas mountain chain, and the Atlas mountain in the middle, and we will cross this part by today during the second leg of this race. Is very high. Many summit is above 3,000 meters. And several are passing over 4,000 meters.
And we don't see it on the map that is displayed on the screen, but the mountain range is between the first and the last turn points. Oh, perfect.
Yes, now we can see it very, very well. And yes, that's exactly the point. And as you can see, the second leg will be along this very long chain of mountain called Atlas. And as you know, Atlas has a meaning of supporting the ground, And this is an impressive chain of mountain being about 1,000 kilometers long and crossing the country and separating the country in two parts, as I told you. So we'll start from Ouarzazate. It's one of the main cities in the south of Morocco. As you can see in Ouarzazate, you have a big lake. It's not natural. It's a dam, and this lake is concentrating a lot of small river, mostly existing during the spring, when the snow of the summit is starting to melt, and flowing southeast in the direction of the desert. And I was working 50 years ago, and this dam was under construction. So it's amazing to see how now it's realized. But most of the river we could see at that time were flowing towards the desert and losing their water in the desert in underground phreatic naps. So this is very typical from this region. The desert on surface is very dry, very hot. It's mostly rocky. In Morocco, we have very little part of the desert being covered by sand. But under the ground, at a level about in between 50 and few hundred meters deep, we have a pretty large surface of water underground, coming from this water coming from the Atlas.
And so, how's that terrain helping or not with the generation of thermals? Is it
yeah, well,
favorable?
it's we have a lot of desert, as you will see on the picture when we will be starting the display of the race in Condor. You will see it's very dry, so there is no inertia in building up thermals, and also we have several colors in the rocky ground, and these colors are reflecting more or less the energy of the sun coming directly to these rocks. And so the dark part will be more generating thermals than others. And so we will have very strong, very powerful thermals, and very also very consistent with a very high ceiling, because in this part it can be very cold overnight and very hot on a day time, and that means that the air and the surface of the ground nearby the ground will be hot, but when we will get up, it will be quickly refreshing with a very advantageous curve of cool down, letting the thermals flowing up to 4,000 meters without any problem.
That's nice. So
that the air here is very dry, as you can see.
do you want to tell us a bit about the task?
Yeah, that's a very unusual task. It will be a little bit difficult for me to explain that because it's not straightforward. This task is what we call assigned area task. The overall objective is to make in a limited duration of 2 hours the maximum of speed according to the different area we can cross. So, for example, in the first area you have half a cycle, and you can search for the maximum speed to be raised within this area. So you don't have a specific turn point to turn around. You go to the area and you look where you can you can maximize your speed in this area. For each area, you have to search for speeding up on a highest speed So at the end, you will have your ranking being built up, your distance divided by the time you make, meaning your average speed.
So pilots, based on their confidence they have, should be doing the maximum distance, but within a given time frame.
Yes.
Because the largest the distance, the better score they'll have. But what are the time limitations? You cannot. I think it's 90 minutes today.
It's
The
2 hours.
minimum time.
It's 2 hours.
Oh, 2 hours. My bad.
It's 120 minutes.
Okay. So what happens if a pilot finishes in less than 2 hours?
Well, their average speed will be calculated with 2 hours. So that
Okay.
means that they have not enlarged their circuit enough to reach the 2 hours. So there is a fundamental point. They shall not arrive below 2 hours of time. Otherwise, they will decrease their average speed, which will be limited anyway at 2 hours.
But so if a pilot finishes in 2 hours and 1 minute, but covers, I don't know, what is
So
the minimum? Do you know for this task the minimum distance?
it is 350 kilometers.
Okay, so if a pilot flies in 2 hours, 350 kilometers, and another pilot flies in 2 hours and 2 minutes, 400 kilometers, which one has the best score?
So the one will be the winner will be the one who is making the maximum distance within this time frame. So it means 400 kilometers will be the winner, right? Because the average speed is an overall counting criteria for ranking
Yes.
the pilots.
So I guess we will see people more following more different routes than on a more traditional task
Yes,
where everybody's following
within
exactly
the
the same
assigned
protocol.
area, they can select wherever they want to go in order to maximize their average speed. So within the different assigned areas, they can select wherever they want to go.
And
So that's very strategic. You have a lot of thinking to do about this before you start and during your race, according to the met conditions.
and can you tell us about the weather forecast for the day, maybe?
Yeah, so we are on the 9th of March.
Oh, early in the year.
Yes, early in the year, but it's a good period for the and so we can see a little bit what the weather will be here. So a good period for the desert. There is no rain within the winter expected. No rain at all overall the entire year. I met in a little bit south of that. I met small boys and girls in a school many years ago, and I tried to explain them that the water they were drinking every day or they were collecting in the barrage was coming from the sky, and they were laughing. they have never seen rain coming from the sky. They say no, the water comes from underground. So that means that in this area of Morocco, the rain is quite unexpected. It can happen, but very unpredictable. And so that's a typical type of met for spring. So you will see the highest mountain we may encounter still some snow, but in the along the Atlas, it will be very desertic, almost no trees, even no vegetation, just for very little bushes, and even not. But along the river, you can have the river coming from the snowing area in the highest mountains. You can see some cultural activities because we have water coming from the top of the mountains and descending along the rivers. So that's very specific. So typically today we will have about 2,500 meter under from the ground up to the cumulus. And the ground here is 1,000 meter high. So actually in QNH, the selling will be about 3,500 at the departure place. And as you can see, we can see some glider spiraling, and apparently the spiral, the thermals are working pretty well. Some are already very high.
And I think the gate opened probably 10 minutes ago, and in
Yeah, the gate will be opening
in 5
in 5
minutes.
minutes,
Yeah.
so it's still not activated.
Okay, my bad.
And can we ask for the altitude of some participants, if it is possible, the highest altitude reach? The departure line?
Look up. I can tell you also.
All right.
3,500 for.
Yeah. So as I said, it was about to be 3,000 meters. It's even a little bit higher.
And what's the ground altitude? The
1,000 meter.
Okay. Oh, nice.
1,000 for 300 maybe. So we have 2,000 meter from ground to the base of the clouds. And sometimes you don't have clouds even. Huh? You have what we call it the blue thermals, meaning without any condensation effect due to the fact that the air is too dry and doesn't go onto the cold part of the air. So you can see that, and the clouds are very limited. Condensation is very limited because it's very dry and very hot on the ground.
And yeah, as we're seeing a view from the air, I was wondering what the outlanding possibilities are in the area. And of course, there's going to be south and north of the Atlas because they'll be going through the top of the range. But is it lots of options for the pilots?
Not many, because as you can see, the ground has a little bit part of flat ground, but it's very rocky. It's very stony, and you cannot expect having a pretty flat area to land anywhere. So you can. There are several airports disseminated along this line, so you need to fly in the local of
Gliding
this
distance
airport.
of the airports. Okay.
But that's not so difficult because you have this fantastic glider. We can say a few words about the participant and the selection of gliders they may have. Do you want to comment that, Anna?
No, I'll let you do that. But I just realized we started the stream and didn't really introduce ourselves, Jean-François.
Okay.
So maybe
I will say a few words about me, and maybe you can complete, because you know that we are of the same club. We are in the south of France, of Fayence, and so I am Jean-François. I'm flying since 2005. I started. And now I am retired. I am the general secretary of the club I am belong to. And also I initiated a lot of flying races, virtual races in the French Federation of Gliding. So I am very
Condor geek.
I am very familiar with the Condor race and all the technology behind that.
Thanks, Jean-François. So I'm Mana Coste, and I also fly out of Fayence, a very beautiful place to fly from. Just the I guess southernmost club of the Alps. Um, and I started gliding long time ago, but I stopped for 28 years and resumed in 2018. And I'm not as much Condor geek as Jean-François. It's true, he's done a lot, especially in France, and contributing to many of the sceneries that people fly with in Condor. So I'm not sure did you contribute to the Morocco one?
I did the Morocco one for the Condor one.
Okay.
And then I let another guy I trained to make sceneries to transfer what I did in Morocco 1 to Morocco 2.
So yeah, you were talking about the gliders, and I'm taking a quick look at the tracking on QNAMB with the French pronunciation .net. I suppose some pilots have started, because I mean, people have been testing the air mass, but it's my impression that MX 269 have taken a start. I'm not so sure, but as you were saying, we expect that most pilots today will be flying on the EB29 and the JS1 21 meters, because today is open class. We didn't mention that. No handicap.
Yes.
So people will pick the fastest gliders for the task.
Yeah, so these gliders are the most exciting gliders we can expect to see in the sky. I will comment about the EB29. So EB29 is a fantastic glider, 28 meter span, with a wing area of 14 square meters, almost 50, and with a total maximum weight of 850 kilos. So that's pretty impressive for a kind of glider. So you can see one of them here. I guess it is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an EB29.
And so the highest best glide ratio is 70:1, meaning
Wow.
if you are at 1 kilometer altitude, you can glide in calm air 70 kilometers long. So it's even there is no bird flying this like this one. And these wings are extremely flexible, as you can see, and
an amazing aspect ratio. Amazing.
Amazing.
So
amazing.
thin.
So it was the build of this kind of glider has been possible since we have fantastic materials like carbon fibers and so on, that can 10 times that are 10 times less weighting compared to steel or even glass fiber, and much more resistant. So we can make this kind of aspect being realized for this kind of glider. So a few words about the start line. The start line, we have a maximum speed to avoid incident of collision in between the different glider. I guess the maximum speed is 170 kilometers per hour.
And this is ground speed, since it's the
That's
only
ground
one that
speed,
can really
yes.
be
So
measured.
they have a little bit of wind coming from behind. So they have, on the airspeed, they have to limit their speed for departure at about 160, guess. Because penalties for overpassing the speed are pretty severe. Yeah, so as you can see here, they are still climbing. Some of them are still climbing. I guess some
maybe
already started.
Tim, can you show us QNAMB Because I thought that some of the pilots had departed, but they actually came back. I
Yeah, some
see.
are testing the first kilometer of the race just to feel a little bit more what is in the air, what kind of thermal they can find up there, and so and they may decide that they have not maximized their speed during the departure time, so they come back. They have 40 minutes to cross the line. So they may expect. Also, there is a strategic aspect. For example, the leader of the race, very often they are followed by many others. Just try to catch the leader and take profit of their experience or of their maturity uh, to follow them and maximize their speed as well. Just like cyclist race, the leader are always looked over for by the challengers.
Yeah, it's an interesting analogy. Though in gliding, if sometimes people in bicycling, in cycling, will take turns to open the air. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah.
But in gliding, you never give up the first place. If you're in final, there's no taking relays.
Yeah.
So I think there's been a few big flights to Morocco. Morocco. I remember in the 90s, before I don't know how GPS technology was at the time. I just know that cell phones were not what they are today. But there was a flight from Vinon to Fès.
Yes. So Vinon is from southeast of France, very close to Fayence, meaning Vinon is nearby Aix-en-Provence for those who are knowing this city. And yes, they crossed the Pyrenees. They descended along the Mediterranean coastline, along up to the the Strait of Gibraltar, and then they followed a straight line from Gibraltar to Fez, and the total distance is about I think it's 1,400, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I looked that up before the flight today. 1,411 kilometers.
1,411 kilometers.
And that was on an ACH-25, which is a
Yes.
great glider, but no power, no engine.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
no engine,
uh,
and also a very long day of flight because I guess it was I don't know how many hours it take, but
I read they started at 7 a.m. Getting wave near Vinon.
yeah,
They had to go a bit north to cross the valley of the Rhone. And I'm not sure what time they landed, but yeah, long flight. It seems that some pilots have
yes, already started, I
taken the
guess.
start.
So we can see Simon Holt actually is flying a Diana 2. Diana 2 span is not that long, but it can bring a lot of water, so it can be very heavy. And so because the thermal are very strong, you take profit of this weight to increase your total energy embarked by the glider for flying fast.
Yeah,
So
and when flying fast, I assume that I assume a smaller wingspan will generate less drag than 28 meters. And, and
yeah,
and
but
drag when you go very fast is not your friend.
exactly. So it's very complicated because as you mentioned, the span is dragging a lot, and but also the span can bring more water, so the total weight can be much higher, so the total energy can be much higher. So it's a balance of many parameters that are very difficult to predict in terms of performance.
And I'm surprised to see a Diana 2. Tim, do you have a list of the the um, the gliders flying and
Today,
the pilots and the glider they're flying? I assume everybody will be with an EB-29. I think okay. I think there's a
so
JS3, Ventus 3, and Antares
yeah,
18.
GS3 must be 20-meter span, 21-meter span, right? Because you have two type of GS3. You have the 18-meter and 21-meter.
And yeah, one thing also, the EB-29. I mean, Condor comes with a few free, not free, included gliders. And then if you want to fly with another one, you have to purchase. It's not very expensive, 10, 15 euros, if I remember. But
No, yeah, sorry.
everybody doesn't necessarily buy the models to fly with them. Let me explain why we have an Antares. I think the Antares is a default glider in Condor. Um, Interesting. We can see if Tim, if you can show us the live map, we see that there's a few routes being taken by a series of pilots. Some following KMI, Kilo Mike India, on a northern route, and then a few others in the middle, and Tango Papa 269, and another that I can't really see.
Yeah.
Trying
Well,
the south route.
I can explain that because they already have prepared their strategy for maximizing their speed. And I guess Kilo Mike India and Juliet Tango and Juliet Kilo Kilo are prepared to make the extreme east part of the area and fly up to the north, to northeast, along this chain of mountains that is well oriented, perpendicular to the wind.
Uh-huh.
So they want to maximize the distance within this cycle already. They took the decision to make that. When the guy which are south are not predicting this area being especially well adapted for maximizing their speed.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of ridge lift? What is the wind strength predicted for the day?
We have a wind among 12 kilometer per hour
That's not a lot.
on the ground, going up to 25 kilometers at 3,000 meter high.
So do you anticipate people will be flying
At,
along
yes, definitively. I anticipated that because, as you know, when you have wind on the ridges, the wind will accelerate the thermal exchange within the ground along the face of the ridges, and so you will have what we call dynamic thermals, meaning the thermals will be accelerated by the wind, and also the thermal temperature exchange will be improved by the wind, going and flowing along the ridge. So you have two effects that will be multiplicating the speed, vertical speed of the thermal. So yes, definitively they have to get the ridge effect, both on the wind effect and the thermal effect, or the combination of the two.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting early illustration of the challenge and the strategic choices that an AAT task offers. People
Yes.
deciding to maximize their distance on one or the other of the turn points, and we see some, as you just said, that will make longer distance in the first turn point,
Yes.
whereas others are planning probably to do that a bit later.
Yeah. Well, we have a very interesting view according to what we discussed earlier on the ground. You can see the ground has very different colors and schemes, and it's very well patches. So that means that it will be accelerating the development in some area of thermals according to these colors. So that means it's very effective for getting some area much more warm than others. So the difference of temperature will accelerate the formation of thermals at some point. You can see colors that going from blue, red, yellow, and brown. It's really a magnificent area of the world. I lived there and traveled there, and you have absolutely amazing landscape in this part of the Atlas.
You seem to have enjoyed your time there.
Oh yeah.
So I see that Kilo Mike India um, is leading the pack on the
Yeah.
northern route.
And you can see the reach are pretty high
Yeah.
and can be effective.
And looking at the overall ranking, this is Mihaly Knaus, sorry for the pronunciation, from Hungary, is for the time being second place,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, behind Thomas Meyer, who's Mike Yankee Romeo. I don't know if we see him. And I was also surprised to see that they haven't waited much to get started. We were wondering, if some people would wait for the last minute to let everybody leave and then fly their own flight. But the leaders have started early.
Yeah. The point is, this race is pretty long, and we started at 1:30. So I guess the pass line about 2 o'clock afternoon. We are in March. They are short, and we may expect a diminution of the thermal strength during the end of the afternoon. So I would say it's not very efficient to start very late over there, because
Yeah.
you will have much weaker condition at the end of the race.
So on the screen we have Tango Papa, Jan Stratum, and let me look him up. Tango Papa is from the Netherlands. He's not yet at the top of the ranking,
Yeah.
but he's taken.
Wow, you see the variometers. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to mention that they were not centered in the
Wow.
thermals, and they had -10, and now they are +9. So you have a very strong differences of vertical speed.
But I mean, are there crazy thermals like in some of the famous places like
Like
Australia,
Namibia, yes, yes,
Namibia?
yes, 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 crazy.
So 5, 6, 7 meters.
Oh, we already have a FF7. What happened to them? Maybe a
Uh-huh.
collision?
I don't know. Very interesting. Thank you for catching that, Tim. Very strange. Let me look at FF7.
It seems that the thermal are pretty difficult to take at some point. You can see Tango Papa, Janu Stratton is not climbing on a regular manner. At some point is plus 18 right now, but a few seconds before it was at almost
And then
zero
I'm
or
looking up
negative.
FF7 on QNAMP, and I see he was in a spiral with in a thermal with a bunch of other pilots, and then there's a straight line, so it looks like a
Okay.
collision.
Yes, he got a collision. Yes. Well, Mana, can you tell us how we prevent collision in this spiral when we have so many gliders spiraling
Well, you
in
look,
the same place?
you look out the window and you don't look at your instruments. In Condor, there's two different types of setups. People with flat monitors, The worst is when you only have one single monitor. Most people who do a lot of flying will have dual or triple monitor, so you can extend the field of view and see the gliders on the side. What is very helpful also is to use um, a
The
head
VR.
movement tracking system.
Okay. Yeah, the
There's some
VR,
DIY.
virtual reality.
Well,
Mhm.
not yet virtual
Okay.
reality,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Infrared track.
yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you mine, which is a little device that an infrared camera follows and see. Well, I think it's probably coming up pretty bright.
Yeah,
These
yeah, yeah.
points
Yeah, yeah.
allow the camera to see where you're turning your head,
Okay.
and then the screen on your computer will move
Move around with
in the
your head.
direction of where you've
Okay.
moved your head. So if you turn the head left, you see the screen on your left, which
But
helps avoid a
yeah,
collision in Condor.
yeah, I understand. In
And then there's people,
Condor, it is even much more difficult than in the real world, right?
yeah, yeah.
And what about the real world? Because this happened also in the real world. So how do you prevent collision in the real world? Do you have techniques? Do you have what you do to make it uh,
Well,
no?
for myself, I'm not a competitor. I've never raced, and I just I'm very impressed by pilots flying in goggles of tens of gliders. I find that very scary. When I'm in a spiral and or spiral, and there's too many gliders, I usually don't stay too long. But the secret is about watching out, flying a constant radius as much as you can, not changing your course too abruptly. And what is very important is entering in an existing spiral at the right circling direction, of course, and trying to be 180 degrees of glider that would be at about the same altitude as you are.
Mhm.
I've recently installed Flasher, but that's more helpful, which is a device that is in my case in my canopy and has a big strong strobe. That's more for face-to-face collision avoidance. It doesn't really help you in a goggle.
Mhm.
I don't know. What are your techniques, Jean-François, to make sure
Well,
you never have a collision?
yeah. Well, I think we can talk about the flames as well, predicting the collision a few seconds before it can happen, so you will be alerted. Flam is the
But
electronic device.
in a thermal with lots of gliders, your flarm isn't helping that much
Yeah, yeah.
because
Oh, I
there's too many
understand.
people nearby, and you get a lot of alarms. It can even be distracting.
Yeah.
The modern flarms even have an option to disable the alarms in
Mm.
thermals.
So we are in an interesting part of the flight now. When you look at the map, overall map, first of all, we can see the ground, mountains, and so on. It's very very up and down. It's spread out with different valleys and it's very uneven type of ridge.
It
So
doesn't seem to be a very strong and abrupt slope,
yeah,
right?
well, it
It's
will be
shallow,
much stronger
mellow.
a little bit after that.
Do you think
But
they have much dynamic lift there?
yeah, they have.
Well, minus
Well,
zero
but now
seven.
now on the overall map, Tim, if you can put the yes, perfect. The upper on the north part of the map here, you have the team of the guys that chose to go on the east side to maximize the distance compared to others, and now they have a reach pretty well oriented going to the turn point. Can you see that? So I think they want to go much more on the north side
Yeah.
just because then they will be under the wind in a
Yeah.
very descending air mass, and so they will limit their flight distance up to there when they still can benefit from of the ridge effect. When the other population of south gliders, I think they will aim directly to the turn point without going to the north anymore. So they
But
will be making much less distance, and they will have to enlarge the distance in another place to maximize their speed.
Tim, can you show us Kilo Mike India? I was just looking on the map, comparing Juliet Kilo 2. So Juliet Kilo Kilo is Jarmo from Finland. Kilo Mike India is Mihaly from Hungary. And Kilo Mike India is at what is his altitude? 3,300, whereas Juliet Kilo Kilo is a bit lower at 2,800. And so here comes the question: if you have a long ridge like that, isn't it faster to be below the top of the ridge to get more ridge lift? And I don't know if Kilo Mike India is above or not.
Well, the answer is pretty
Oh, he's not.
clear in this kind
Oh,
of circumstances. The, the maximum of lift you will get is just at the top of the ridge. You know, just like Juliet Kilo Kilo is right now. Because
yeah.
if you are flying over this ridge, much over, you won't have the ridge effect due to the wind. It would be much lower. So the maximum wind effect to sustain you along the ridge is just at the top of the cliff, at the top of the ridge. Few tenths of meter, you know, on the top of the ridge. Lower, you'll get less wind effect, and upper, you have much less wind effect. So everyone try to get at this kind of altitude on the top of the ridge, but not higher.
Can
So if,
you?
for example, you take time to spiral to get much higher, you will lose the ridge effect
Yes.
to
Can
progress.
you zoom in, Tim, to see how close to the ridge they're flying? Not that close, huh?
Not that
Interesting. I
close.
thought they would be. Oh,
Well, Juliet Kilo Kilo is
it's a
much
bit
closer
more.
than
Yeah.
the other one. And so we arrived
But
at
you
the
can you
first
see, sorry, Jean-François,
yeah,
220 kilometers an hour
it's,
and
it-
positive 1, positive 0.9. So
it's
there's
fast
good lift.
and very positive. So you have a good airlift here.
Very good.
Now we are arriving at the first turn point, and this first turn point is it's called Tizin Test. No, sorry, Tizin Tishka. Tizin Tishka means the pass of Tishka. That's low part of the mountain. That's a road here that can join the north and the south of Atlas. So the three turn points are at pass level. This one is the first one, Tizin Tishka. Tishka is a small village nearby the pass, and Tizin means pass in Berber.
So sorry, I was counted 42 pilots in the air right now.
But you know that there will be other session because
Yeah,
this race is open to all part of the world. So there are several servers that will be run all along the night and the day after today to cover most of the part of the world for the participants.
correct.
So 50 gliders is pretty good. Okay, so you can see the glider pretty well spread out.
Yeah, but I think the majority seem to be following the northern route
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maximizing ridge lift.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it is interesting to see that some of I'm thinking of Donapierre 269. Where is he right now? I thought he had taken the
Donapia is
269. He
is disconnected.
disconnected. He
Wow.
disconnected. I don't know if he's still
He,
flying.
mu-
He may be.
he must
Yeah,
be.
sometimes that happens on Condor.
Yeah.
Just a few words about that for having. Yeah, we didn't say that, but Jean-François and I were part of the scoring team for the recent e-glide organized by the French Federation of gliding, and there's often people will be flying, and even though they continue to fly on Condor, their connection to the server drops. It doesn't stop them from completing the flight, but they will not see any other gliders. And at the end, after landing, they'll share their IGC, the capture of the flight with all the trace, and then this can be analyzed. So Donapierre, that was 269, was there at the beginning of the flight, is disconnected. It doesn't mean he will not complete the flight.
But he
We
will be
just won't
alone.
see him.
He won't see the others.
Correct.
So it's much more difficult when you don't beneficiate from the other glider. Can you tell us why, Mana?
I feel like I'm in class, Jean-François.
Sorry.
Yeah, uh, it's what you were saying about cycling races. Uh, the toughest is flying alone on a blue day, where there's no in thermal conditions. Ridge is very different because you have no indicator of where to go find the lift. Especially if you're in the mountains, you don't necessarily rely on the color of the fields like you may do on flatter land. So you have to guess where the thermals are going to be. When you have clouds, cumulus clouds like the ones we see, they're usually the result of a thermal and indicate that there's something to be found underneath. So depending on the wind direction, you may look, east, south, east, west of the cloud. Not a great indication, but that you don't see from very far in the distance is birds circling. But even better is a gaggle of other gliders going up. And in real life, with your flarm, you actually, if you have a flarm with a display, you can actually see the variometer of the glider. And when you see someone gliding at +3, you know you should be going there if you're looking for lift. So when Donapierre or others who disconnected continue their flight, they're on their own. They don't see anyone. They don't see where thermals could be. So it makes it a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
At the same
Okay.
time, especially for the top pilots, it means that if they have a very good flight strategy and they don't want people to follow them, well, people cannot follow them. But this is only true for Condor simulation, of
And you
course.
can see Mihaly Knaus flying EB29. He's starting to climb under a thermal right now because he was very low, and he was not in the good position to beneficiate of the ridge effect. So I think he will go up to the top of the thermals right now, and then he will join the ridge to benefit of the ridge effect after he climb into the thermal. And we can see Jarno Karjalainen, EB29 as well. But he is passing along, and I guess he will go and connect with the ridge right now. And you can see the landmark and the turn point with the being noted on the scenery here. It's where the road passing from north to south of Atlas is progressing.
Yeah. So interesting. I see on the
I
live
guess you can
map.
see the road. You can see the road. Thank you very much, Mr.
Team.
From the team from the regie. You can see the road going on the other side towards the city of Marrakesh that we will join by turning around the chain of mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say when looking at the live map, we've got 6 Bravo Mike.
Wow.
Very.
That's
Who?
another option. As you
Yeah, but
can
he's
see,
in.
there is a ridge coming down from northeast to southwest, a little bit more. So it will maximize the distance. Definitively, it will be having a lot of distance being run compared to others.
And he's at
No,
a pretty decent altitude, 3,100. It's not
yeah,
like he's.
it's not bad at that position. Yes, it's not bad. Now, I don't know what the wind effect will be over there because the wind is from
Um,
southeast.
he's losing altitude. Well, which I mean, he's flying straight, so it's normal. I just wonder if there's a lot of downdrafts. Maybe not,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
he's now reasonably far from the.
Yeah, but as you can see, he will join. I think now he will start turn down to the south.
And this is Chris Pearson from the United Kingdom. He's for now 16th in the overall ranking since the first 2 races.
Yeah.
But of course, everybody hasn't flown the 2 races. But he has. So how will that work? Who will be the end of year champion? How will we know?
It makes a total of the 14 best race.
14
Run.
out of 16?
Yes. So for this kind of race, the first guy coming is the is 1,000 points, and then according to the times the others are taken compared to the first, there will be less points being accumulated, and at the end you will accumulate all the best of the 14 race you do to have the winner.
So someone who would win the 14 races would have 14,000 points at the end.
If you are a good pilot, yes, you can. As you can see, 6 Bravo Mike is now turning down to the south, and he will take the ridge we can see on the map.
Do
So
you think
he will take that ridge.
do you think this ridge will provide lift? Because there will
Not
be.
yet, not yet, but I know that there is a very good ridge. As you can see on this photo, you can see on the upper part on the east side. No, sorry, on the right side, there is a peak, and this valley on south of the peak is will be very good. It will be very good progress.
Okay, interesting. So he's on his own, really, the only one to have gone that
Yeah,
way. Um,
but now he has taken an option, and so he will be limited in a time.
yeah, so he's
Resting for
flown
flying.
60 kilometers. And I wonder, Juliet Kilo, how many kilometers? Tim, would you be able to tell us or show us? I'm sorry, you were
Juliet Kilo. You know, he's
89.
just at the top of the ridge. Is at the ideal point to maximize the lift of the ridge. Is perfectly placed. As you can see, well, the variometer is not that good, so it's contradicting what I'm saying right now. But
Now it
now,
became.
yes, it's +3, +4. There is no real. Oh, you get under a thermal lift here.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course we don't know with this view when each pilot took the start. It's not a
Yeah,
Grand Prix
no,
or
that's
a
true.
regatta
That's
type
true.
of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
departure where everybody has to leave at the same time. So it's hard to predict who's going to be having the best average speed, which will be impacted by the time spent
Eh,
as well as the length.
yeah. As you can see, we can start seeing the snow. So we should be almost at 3,500 meters or more. Yes, Jarno now is at almost 4,000 meters.
15 meters per second. Okay, was this just a no,
Well,
it's really the thermal.
yeah, it's thermodynamic stuff. So it's very strong.
Yeah, so the average speeds will be pretty big, I assume,
I
end
guess
of the
with a
race.
very high speed, yes. Now we are at 4,000 meter high. So the speed shown here is not the speed that the pilots see. Pilots see on their speedometer much lower speed. Okay. Now we are at
Because
200.
the wind is southeast, right?
Yes, southeast.
They have a
And
bit
now
of
we are arriving at the high part of the Atlas,
and it seems to be
covered
pretty
with snow and ice.
a big abrupt slope should be giving a
Yeah,
lot of lift.
yeah.
As you can see, 180 kilometers an hour plus 5. Okay, now it's more reasonable.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful scenery. Unusual place. I'm not sure many pilots fly in Morocco.
No, not anymore. There was a club in Beni Mellal, but unfortunately, this club couldn't manage to keep running his activity. It was closed about 6 or 7 years ago. It's a
Do you know
friend of
why? Lack
mine.
of
It's a
pilots?
friend of us. Dafir was president of that club.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know that Phil. I
Yeah,
didn't know he was
yeah,
president of a club.
yeah. In Beni Mellal. But Dafir had to drop the activity because not enough of money and sponsors and activities, people interested
Look at that
by the,
Vario. Sorry, sorry,
yeah,
Jean-François. Okay, well, he was just I don't know when
breaking
you
the
pull up
speed.
in
Yeah,
French we say une ressource.
yes, it was breaking the speed. Is pulling up
Yeah.
the stick.
So Philippe is a French pilot.
Oh, Philippe Lata is one of the French champion from the French team. So Philippe is one of our champion.
And another Condor geek flies a lot online.
Yes, he's training a lot of condors. Yes. No, I'm not sure he found it a very good thermal over there. I guess.
Well, he's in the top of the race for now in terms of position.
Yeah, easy.
Um,
But it get a bit lower,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now we have to climb to join back the top of the ridge. To maximize the speed. The
efficient.
problem is altitude is another parameter in the ranking. You may be first in position in terms of kilometers being run, but without altitude, you don't have energy. It's just like a car in a race car with an empty tank. So you will have to stop at the pit and fill back your tank. So and you will lose your first place in the ranking. And unfortunately for gliding, filling up the tank takes much more time than in the car racing at the pit. Well, it's a matter of
Yes,
seconds. But in here, as you can see for Emmanuel Cartier, I guess. Yes.
yes, it's
Uh,
Emmanuel, another French pilot.
yes. He is not very successful as climbing and taking the lift in this centering the lift in this thermal. So it may take a little bit of time in doing this. All right. When Philippe Latta still try to climb at the top level of the ridge to maximize the lift above the edge of the ridge. Okay, now I think it took. No, you can see he's flying at lower speed just to try to climb up along the ridge and not
Yeah,
spending.
and it's very surprising to see -5, -7 meters per
Yeah,
second.
because the air is not climbing everywhere. So that's an equilibrium in the mass of air climbing and descending,
Okay.
and you can meet descending air very nearby. You have thermal climbing.
It's strange because the area where they are is, I assume, quite perpendicular to the wind.
Yeah. Oh, well, wind is a little bit from the back.
Yeah.
So Philip, for example, he will be turning a little bit on the left, and he will have a better wind now. And you will see that right now the Vario is climbing up.
Yep.
It's a question of few degrees difference.
So cloud base is not very much higher than the top of the ridges.
Mm-hmm. You mean who?
The cloud base.
Oh, the cloud base is just at the level of the
Yeah.
top of the ridge. Very often you have what we call an inversion curve. So the air is not cooling down anymore, but there is a hot front coming over, and the hot air doesn't climb anymore in hot air. So it's what we call inversion layer, where the ascending stream are limited just because the hot air coming from the ground is meeting hot air coming over by a hot front. And very often this happen, in the mountains. Typically in the valleys or down the mountains during the night, you have a much colder air than at the top.
So even though this is an AAT, well, everybody's following a very similar line, of course.
Oh,
to fly
now because we
really.
are in between two area, so
Yeah,
everyone will
and
take the same line. Eh?
yeah, but if it wasn't a mountain or mountainous area, people maybe would be following different path. But here we can see that it's like a train with everybody following precisely the edge of the
Now, if
coast.
if you want to come back to the guy who was climbing very 6B6BM.
Yeah, where is he?
6
Yeah,
Bravo Mike is just under the line. 6 Bravo Mike. He didn't take.
it's
Yeah.
maybe not the best strategies.
No, he missed. He missed. Oh, okay. We cannot see it very well here. It's a
Is this a
little bug
glitch?
in there. But he missed. He missed the ridge I was aiming for. There was a much better ridge. The one we see at the second level of the image here. I thought he would take this one, and because this one is meeting the main one, few tens kilometer, and it could be very much better than where he is now. So I don't know why he took a turn so sharp to come down to the south after being.
Maybe he thought he
north.
would be in the downdrafts generated by the first.
Well, if you look at the point, he turned southeast, so it's very reverse to what the direction is aiming for. He turned back. He turned back to the southeast to join the other guys. So he didn't he didn't trap the
Yeah,
advantage he had to
and
follow
we
with
can
the ridge.
see
We
on
can
the
see,
map that Tim is
yeah,
showing that, yeah, if he had continued, instead of turning left when he was going
yes,
south, he
he
may
could
have continued straight and
he could have going straight, and this ridge, I know it very well, is very good. But I think maybe he didn't know that as well as I do.
yeah, I don't know if he's a frequent condor flying and if he's flown in Morocco much. I
because
remember we
because
did fly.
turning back to southeast is totally reverse situation, reverse direction compared to what you have to what you have to go. So I think in this case he lose a lot of time, and unfortunately he lose also a lot of average speed for the overall result. Anyway, that's a race.
So Yarmo is still in the lead again,
Yeah.
geographically. We
Now we
don't
are
know.
approaching the Tupkal, the highest summit. Is it's a little bit on north. Yeah.
Okay, November Yankee is Christer. Oh, it's too hard for me to pronounce. Schberg, and he is. Let me look up.
Yeah, you
From
know, Philippe Latta,
Sweden.
also. Philippe Latta is just under the Tupkal. Tupkal is just north of the position of Philippe. So, yeah. So, you know, these massive mountains you can see on the right? That's the highest summit of the Atlas Mountains, the Tupkal, 4,200 meter high. It's an amazing, very amazing mountains. You can see that from very far away. And when you are in Marrakesh, 200 kilometers from the Atlas, you are in a desert, and you can see all these mountains covered with snow. That's amazing impression. That's very nice. So you have Palmer's desert and the snow over the mountains of Tupkal in wintertime.
Yeah, we get to see not exactly that, but some of it on the French Riviera,
Yeah,
where you could go skiing and
and diving the same day.
yeah, it'd be a pretty cold dive, but or swim.
Or swimming
Yes.
or gliding, even just like we did last Saturday, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Season has started here.
We
We've
are
had a
seeing that.
few good, decent days with some of the top pilots flying 400 kilometers like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And weather today was very warm,
Mhm.
so I assume that we'll soon have very, very good conditions.
Yeah.
So pilots are reaching the second turn point,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we may see some different routes and decisions taken as to where to maximize distance.
So what is the timing now compared to the overall 2 hours they have to spend over there? So did you note what was
No,
the
but I
departure
think
time?
the gate opened maybe a bit less than an hour ago.
Yeah. So I think they have run 1 hour now. So in order not to arrive too early, they will have to spend time now not in mountainous, so mountainous and high altitude type of reach. So this one will be a little bit tricky as well.
But so far, the except for what we assume to be in-flight collision, it's a reasonably, I was going to say easy. I don't know if I should say easy, but it's not super challenging. The weather forecast is not is unlikely to get
Well,
people to
l-
land out. But I
well,
think it's also part of the the philosophy of the World Series, not making it too hard.
too hard, yes. But when you can see the trace of the flight, you can see it's not that easy to center the thermal.
And they must be very heavily loaded because the
And they are
thermal
very heavy loaded. That's big spans, but very difficult to put in turns. So it's and also the thermal is pretty narrow.
Okay.
When I designed the flight here, I made them strong but narrow. So if you are not perfectly centered, you are not climbing that fast. And that's a challenge for this kind of gliders.
So they're following the ridge again. I think there's a peak.
Yep.
That they're
They
all
just
going
passed
to
the
go.
Toubkal, and now they are going in the southwest.
Yeah, they're going south of that peak, which explains, I
Yeah.
guess, why they're turning south a bit before the
Yeah, and also they want to
AEP
extend
area.
they want to extend the kilometers run, the distance, because they shall never arrive before 2 hours. So they have almost 1 hour to spend more, and so they will adjust their timing. I think it's the last cycle.
Yeah. So it may be interesting, Tim, to show us the map if you have the version with the relief. Well,
On top, from the top.
because we'll see.
Yes.
Yeah, we see that they're going. They're following the ridge,
Yeah.
and then if they want to extend, they'll have to be in a flat land area. I'm not sure they'll
Yes.
do that. What's your guess, Jean-François? What do you think?
Well, I guess they will join the other ridge. We can see on the east position of the first guy.
Do you think they'll go straight over the flat
So
land?
now they should not go too far to the south, because after that you have a very interesting ridge to go on the bottom part of the full cycle. Think they start turning around. You see?
Yep.
So I would go and join the ridge. You can see at the extreme part of the half cycle on the east side, and then go and follow the opposite ridge towards the southeast.
Here, where Tim's mouse is. Yeah.
No, on the east part of the cycle, of the half cycle.
Okay. Well, we'll see what they decide. And I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody will be in line. Okay, where's Philippe? He's 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth.
He's making a very good race so far. I don't know what kind of distance he flown.
137 kilometers. But we don't know at what time he left.
Yeah.
Because if he left much after the...
Can you show us, Tim, please, the distance flown compared to the Juliet Kilo. So we have Philip, he flown 138, and GKK 142. I guess it made almost the same layout. So interesting to see the distance flown at this point for the first point, because if they are together now, the more they flown as distance, the better the speed will be, the average speed will be, right?
So there's only 5 kilometers between them, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how far from
Yes.
each of them, but it's about 5 kilometers, I guess.
And JKK is 3,500 meters. Well, they're all pretty high.
They're all pretty high still.
So they're not following the ridge at all. I mean,
No, that they will change the opposite part of the cycle they are crossing right now to go on the ridge on the full cycle. You know the full cycle, the third turn point.
yeah.
On southeast of this cycle, there is a ridge over there, and I would now fly full west to take that ridge. And I don't know what they will do.
So he seems to be flying Yarmo. J Kilo is flying straight, leaving the mountain range and going towards the flatland.
GKK, yes, is going to the flatland. Amazingly, I won't do that if I was in this position. I would turn on the right, because you can see on the right side of their track here, there is another ridge.
Yeah, but they are too high for that, right? They would have to lose a lot of altitude to benefit from
No,
the.
but you can cross this valley, which is the Tizin Test Valley. That's the road from Marrakesh to Agadir. The other pass of over the Atlas. In between these two roads, there is no way to cross the mountains anymore. So that's pretty long way. But they still go down, to the south.
Yeah, but again, Jean-François, you were saying you thought that a good option would be to follow the ridges.
Yeah, well,
but the ridges in that area are a much lower altitude, so they would have to lose altitude, hence energy.
No. I mean the ridges, we cannot see it. It's more on the east side here. No, on the right side. Sorry. If you can see, Tim, can you turn the image? Yes, this way. More. You can see the ridge. We can see over there.
Yeah, but they're much lower.
That's the one. That's the one I would track. Well, but you don't have to get very high here, because this ridge is pretty interesting. It's very well situated compared to the wind. I see PG Pierre-Jean Vincent taking that option.
Yes. And what is his altitude? I'll look it up. 3,200. Because that's what I'm wondering. If you're at 3,800 meters, and then you have the option to cross the valley or follow the ridge that is on your right, but the ridge is at I don't know, 2,500. I'm not sure how. So you have a lot of altitude.
It's not that high, but if you are flowing along this ridge, you won't have to spiral anymore. So you don't have to stop to the pit to get more altitude. Anyway, that's the decision that belongs to the pilots in their cockpit, right?
But it's good. We're starting to see different options, and if you go back to the map, there's November Yankee, Mike Alpha Yankee. People.
So Mike Alpha Yankee is following the ridge from the beginning to the end,
taking different routes.
But he may have flown much. Oh, you can see now they are divided in three groups. One going to the south and trying to extend their distance in the valley. So south of Juliette Kilo Kilo, there is a very interesting old city called Taroudant. And Taroudant is 80 kilometers east from Agadir. And
sorry, I'm interrupting you. That's very interesting. Showing us. Oh, not anymore. Sorry for cutting you, Jean-François, because this is really what matters. November Yankee as the. Oh, no, they're not ranked.
No, it's not ranked. No, by speed. But you have a UW uniform whiskey echo um, is 181. That's amazing. I don't know where he is, but
He may be. Well, let me look up. He may. Yeah, he may be
and you
way
also
back.
have 09 or Oscar 9. I don't know. 183.7.
UWE.
You know, a lot of other guys they are joining this ridge on the east side.
Yes, I can see that.
Now the option of Juliet Kilo Kilo and Kilo Mike India are extreme to go to the bottom of the cycle. Maybe they anticipate to be a little bit in advance.
Yeah, and so Juliet Kilo Kilo is at 2,900 meters, so it's still quite comfortable.
Oh yes, it is. Now they have a lot of distance to flow in the last cycle, so they can go completely opposite to the other cycle, and it will be another story because they will no reach. There will be no reach. Pretty flat land, and so
Ah,
in that they have to count only on their spiraling
interesting view, but it's so high.
energy.
Is he gonna take the lift? I suppose no.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
We'll
It
see.
will pass just yeah. He's
Dolphin
doing.
flying.
He's not neglecting anything. No, he's just made a Marswin. Marswin. I don't know
Oh
how
no,
to say that
dolphin. I
in
don't know if we say
dolphin. Yes.
dolphin flying.
No,
Well,
I
then
think he turned his turn point right here.
yes. Well, I'm not sure that there's anyone watching us who doesn't fly, but when you fly in an area with lift, which is what happened under this cloud, um, it makes sense to slow down, because when you slow down, you spend more time in the rising air um, area, so that maximizes
Your energy.
your energy.
You trap energy for the time being. Huh? You are trapping energy to
So
fill up your
he's
tank.
going back northwest.
Yeah. And now they are going down. Sorry, not down. Towards this ridge, we can see on the opposite part of the cycle here. Everyone is converging toward here. But for sure, they made a lot of distance here. Now I don't know what their departure time is, so I'm not sure because
Yeah,
with the
that's the
with
thing.
the
If you don't
eight,
know when they left, well, only the average speed gives us the
yeah,
meaningful information.
with the eight they have right now, uh, so they have a lot of energy to fly straight up to the opposite of the large complete circle. So they may maximize the distance to Marrakesh. Even here, I don't think they have done a lot of distance compared to the time they have. So they may arrive a little bit ahead of schedule.
So November Yankee.
Now they are going to regroup. That's pretty interesting, yeah.
Yes, I find that that's really the interesting thing about AAT is it gives more freedom to each pilot to choose
Yes,
different strategy.
and you see November. No, I guess who is it? November Yankee or Hotel Yankee? I cannot see that on the screen. November
Yeah.
Yankees. Thank you. So he will just pass the teasing test. So that's a test pass.
He hasn't
The
yet
second pass,
penetrated
the second
the.
pass of the Atlas Mountains, and you will have another road on this valley crossing the overall Atlas Mountains chain. So as you can see, we are closer to the ocean, and now we have more humidity on the ground. You have humidity coming from the mountains, but also ocean is not that far, so the air is less dry and having depositing in the desert. It's still very desertic, but you still have some cultural and agricultural field over there. And Agadir area is very well known for a lot of fruits culture like strawberries, raspberries, peaches, pears, and so on and so on. That's one of the main economical the revenue from this. Yeah, you can see the field and the agriculture coming here on the left side of the yes, just here. So Philip Plata is progressing, and he is flying up to the ridge I was mentioning earlier, in the bottom part, southeast part of the next turn point.
Yeah, I guess that
Or area.
Juliet Kilo Kilo, that is Yarmo, may have covered a little bit more distance, given his choice of turn point.
I think Juliet Kilo Kilo made a very good. Is going to make a very good race right now
Yeah.
because let me have a look on it.
I think given the altitude he had when he reached that second turn point, it was a good idea to just transform this altitude into distance just with a flat
Yeah,
glide, because that allows him to get at decent enough altitude at the next
as the
ridges.
next ridge, yes.
So right now his altitude is 2500, and
Mhm.
he'll benefit from ridge lift. And if instead he had chosen to dive, lose altitude to leverage the lift from the lower mountains north of the route he's chosen, I'm not sure that the end energy balance would have been better. So we'll see at the end. But
Yes, we see that at the end.
I
It's
think
very
it was
difficult
a
to
smart
predict,
choice,
by the way. Very difficult to predict.
of course.
And you know they will join this rift, and in my opinion, they will fly along the ridge we can see at the end of the scenery, at the end of the panoramic view of there, and go down to the south, extreme south of the last cycle, and then turn back to Marrakesh.
Yeah, so
That'll
some
be,
very different choices that we made.
do you have a team? Do you have any time flown already in your 1h11? So that's 1 hour and 11 minutes. Meaning they will have to extend their flight pretty pretty far on the west side, not to arrive too early, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
it's
average
pretty
speeds are
fast.
probably 150.
But you know, the average speed is counted in 2 hours. If they are arriving if they are making their maximum distance and arrive, for example, in 1 hour 50 minutes,
Yeah,
their speed will be calculated over the minimum time allowed,
2 hours.
2 hours. So they have to extend dramatically their distance in order to make the most distance they can do in 2 hours, the largest distance. So it will be a challenge for all, because now the environment over there won't be so supportive, because they won't have the range and the reach.
Yeah, so they
So
may not be. They'll have the wind more in the back. Am I right?
they will have the wind being a little bit front
Oh, for the last leg, you mean?
for the last leg. Yes. Now
Yeah,
that's fully back right
yeah.
now.
Which is good for speed, but not for ridge lift.
No, yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, now there's a higher concentration of pilots.
Yeah, everyone. Well, they are pretty well spread out in the second turn point.
Yeah.
Some are maximizing distance, so some other are maximizing speed. But the group of the north will have to go much more on the west side of the next turn point.
Which may not be that favorable, right?
Yeah,
West of that turn point.
yeah. It's not that good. It's flat. It's not that dry, so it will be much more green and covered with vegetation. So less favor, less in favor of strong thermals. You know, the
Speaking of,
ground now is covered with some bush. It's not that desertic anymore,
but thermals are still good right where they are.
but the thermal are good anymore. Yes, that's still a good one.
So, Jean-François, you who has worked a lot with Condor, you were talking about different areas being more or less dry and thermals being different. Do you think that Condor models that? That, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
the west side of Morocco will not have the same condition?
Depend how the scenery is done. But in the scenery, you have different layer of data. You know, one of the main data is the geographical data, so the 3D altitude and longitude and latitude. So you have a mesh, and over the mesh you put the image. Over the image you put some vegetation, some forest map. Okay, and then one of the layer you take in account for generating the thermals is what we call the thermal map. And the thermal map is what we call the albedo of the surface. And the albedo is the power of a surface to reflect the energy brought by the sunlight to the air. So to warm up the air. And the albedo is less when you have vegetation, green surface, just because the vegetation, the forest and land covered with grass and so on, absorb a lot of energy because it's humid, but also you have the chlorophyll that absorb a lot of energy to build up the carbon that is necessary to grow the trees and all the veggies. So the energy which will be restituted to the air will be less when it's humid and covered with trees or grass compared to rocks.
And you model that when you
And
create the scenery.
we model that as an information layer to generate the thermals. And in the thermals, you take also in account whether it's flatland or it's oriented to south, oriented to north, and depend also the period of the day. So if you are east side rocky, on the morning time you will have big thermals, but on the evening time you will have less good less less good thermal, weaker thermals. You know what I mean?
And
So all this information are layered in a scenery. It's not Condor, it's the scenery, by the way.
and do you know if the promised or the very much expected Condor 3 will be reusing the same sceneries as Condor 2?
Yes, it is expected they won't change anything in the sceneries. They will change mainly the weather model, the air mass movement, and so on and so on. And they will have not so static met. They may have material met changing over days, over hours.
Yeah, and more granular
More granular.
valley
Yes. So
influences.
this kind of they work on the detail of the meteo, uh, in order not having a constant meteo all over the place.
And when are we going to see it?
Aha, when it will be ready. The question I asked to the color
Oh,
designer, they say, well, we never predict an issue. Issuing a version of Condor, we will issue it when it will be ready. So that's the
sorry to
official answer.
interrupt you. What do you think of Oscar November's position?
Uh-uh.
Are these guys not on the wrong side of the slope?
Uh, so it
Actually,
is
where's north? Maybe not,
Oscar.
but they have a pass in front of them.
Yeah, I try to find them on the map to see where they are. Oscar 9.
One
Okay.
P3.
Oscar 9. They have the wind in their back, but
Oh no, yeah,
they
yeah,
are they
yeah.
are
But they
pretty
have to
low. They
pass
are pretty
the.
low. And very honestly, I don't know why they are not going along the ridge. They are crossing the ridge. I would have followed the other guys going on the southwest side,
Yeah.
rather to cross the ridge here.
So Oscar 9 is
Is
Frank
to
Schwertfeger from Germany. And
Schwer,
not far from him ahead is
Schwer,
one Papa
Schwerfigure,
3,
yes.
who is
You say
Philippe,
that
Philippe
this,
Gottschalk from
yeah,
France.
and you say that, well, it's a very good pilot anyway, Philippe Gottschalk.
But he arrived
So
higher and he could go straight, whereas
yeah, yeah.
Oscar 9
But I don't know
needs
what
to.
I don't know why they go under this ridge, under the wind of this ridge. Um, I would have followed Juliette Kilo, what he's doing now. Going along the ridge down to the extreme south of the turn point.
Hey, Jean-François, we don't see you anymore. Maybe you need to get closer to your camera.
Oh, you lost me?
Yeah. We have your voice,
I
but
will try to
video.
reconnect. Okay. Yeah, apparently I got a camera issue.
So we see Philippe has taken a quite different route from everybody. We also see other gliders doing their own thing. 00 or 007 is still 3,600 meters, but way up norther. We may have lost Jean-François. Jean-François, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think
can
my
hear you.
camera just disconnected. I will rework that in a while. Yeah, I think it will be working.
Yeah, 1P3 went north of the ridge, whereas and he and a few other people. I think this would be Uniform Whiskey Echo. Behind, yes, and Papa Juliet. And I would assume from past flights that Uniform Whiskey Echo, who's Uwe Melzer from Germany. Oh, I thought he would be. He's 19th in the general ranking, Uwe. Philippe is 6th in the overall ranking. And oh, you're back, Jean-François. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
And Papa Juliet is Pierre-Jean Vincent from France too. And 26 at the general ranking. So the three guys have taken a different route.
Yeah. So Kilo Mike India and November Yankee, they are taking exactly the track I would have taken here. Philippe Plata is joining them as well. So they will be able to go up to the extreme south of the last turn point, or area, I mean. And then they will go northern, but without getting affected by the downwind of this chain, of this ridge. And I guess they found a pretty good thermal here. 3,000 meter. So this part is a little bit more challenging than the other one. So that means the average speed will be a little bit affected.
Yeah, Kilo Mike India, 3,100 meters.
Wow, that's very good thermal, very high, strong, 4 meters. And it's pretty large as well. So they are well centered. The variometer is very constant. Well,
so do you remember what's the distance between the center of this last turn point and the arrival? How much altitude do they need, or do you think pilots will take before the final glide?
I don't have here. I will try to give you that here. The distance.
No, maybe 100 kilometers or more, no?
Yeah, I would have said about 80. From the center of the last turn point to the arrival. Let's see. I would say, yeah, maybe 100 kilometers. So they won't arrive early. They won't arrive.
Yeah, so if it's 100 kilometers, imagine it's 100 kilometers. What do you think is, actually, I don't know the answer to that question. What is the glide ratio of an EB-29 at 200 kilometers an hour?
I will tell you that.
You can tell me that?
Yeah.
Amazing. Good.
Well,
they have calculators that.
So you mean at 200 kilometer per hour, the vertical speed is 1.4 meter per
fully
second.
Loaded? Are you looking at the fully loaded?
Fully loaded.
Yeah, so you have, okay, we would have to make the calculation. It doesn't give you the glide ratio. You need to.
But 200 kilometer per hour.
Some nice thermals.
is
looks like. A group of pilots in the same. Beautiful view that is one of the advantages of virtual gliding. You get to see things that are very difficult to
yeah,
visualize for
that's amazing.
real life races.
It's about 40, 45 gliding ratio.
And what's the, do you know the arrival altitude? The runway, at what altitude it's located?
Uh,
Is it sea level or is it
no, no, no.
above?
It's 400, I guess.
Okay.
It's 600 meters.
So
600 meters.
the gate opened, most people left about an hour and a half ago,
Yeah.
I assume.
So the at 200 kilometer per hour, they are about 100 kilometer far away from the distance from the arrival. So yeah, it will be good.
Well, they'll probably fly, I mean, if they have the right altitude, they'll fly faster than 200.
So they have there are 3,000 now. Is that right?
Oh, I see some weird traces. Can we go take a look at Golf Delta Tango, Tim? Probably a bit in trouble. I may be wrong, but no, 3,000 meters, but following a strange route. Okay. Um, he's way off the track of everybody else. He went north, um, which I'm not sure is for strategic winning reasons. I don't know if it's just to make sure he gets the altitude to get to the next point, because it's pretty isolated compared to everybody else. And Golf Delta Tango is, let me look up, Gilles de An from France. One of the few, I mean, most people are on our EB29. He's flying a Vent. And we can see him, the red trace, the most north of all the gliders. So probably a difficult race for him.
No, I don't know what the six. Well, go. Who is this man here? Yes, Golf Delta Tango is doing. It's
Yeah.
something strange.
Well, he was following the ridge. We can see, then turn north.
Yeah,
Sure.
he haven't turned around the second turn point. Oh yes, he touched the second turn point. Well, no, he missed it.
Oh,
According to
really?
my well, maybe he got it in Condor. I don't know, but now
Oh,
he's
yeah.
doing.
I'm looking at. I think he turned just before.
Yeah, well, but this is accuracy of the scheme here. I'm not sure it. I
Yeah.
guess he turned it, but he is scared to be too late, and you want to shorten the distance and keeps the speed good, but he's not in a good position here.
So it seems that Papa Juliet decided to go home.
Yeah. So what, Tim? Can you tell us what's the distance flown? No, the time flown by Papa Juliet team. Do you have any idea? 130 minutes, and he has about 100 kilometers to run. So, and what is his altitude? He's not that high. Well, but he may be in a position to reach the target almost
And
3,000
he's
meter
got the
high.
wind to his right, right? Because he's
Yeah,
going
yeah, yeah, yeah,
northwest,
yeah, yeah, yes.
northeast. Sorry, he's flying northeast.
Yeah, now you cannot count over the ridge effect anymore. Um,
Well,
he won't be that
he's got
accurate.
the wind coming from his right wing, so if
Yeah,
he
yeah,
finds the
yeah.
right, he may get
But
some
the reach are very limited in here.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Now, do you have a view of any cockpit, Tim? Philippe Lata? Not today.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Jean-François, by the way, I'm not sure
Yes.
if you change anything, we get a little bit more echo from you when you speak.
No, I didn't change anything.
Maybe just on my side.
So as you can see here, we have a little bit more forest covering the reach. It will be for a while because it's due to the proximity of the sea. But now we will go on Marrakesh side, and it will be becoming very very flat and desertic again.
I remember when I was a teenager, which means many years ago, a trip in Morocco, and there were huge forests of, I think it's called cedar trees, they said.
Cedar trees, yes.
Is
For
it in this area?
cedar, it's on the northwest part of the Atlas.
Okay.
It's much lower than it is here. It's nearby Fez, on the east side of Fez, the imperial city from the north of Morocco. And you have huge forest trees. And
That was very impressive.
but also in the winter you have snow, and also you have a lot of monkeys. So
Monkeys.
you can see the monkeys climbing the cedar, and all the ground being snowy. So that's, and you have also a ski station over there at Ifran. So the north of Morocco is very different to the south. So you have many different climates in the same country. The north is pretty cool and wet and so on, and the south is very dry and desertic. Just because this chain of Atlas mountain crossing the country into part.
Tim, can we see the average speeds, maybe?
Yeah, there is a
Okay.
quite large spray of average speeds.
Papa Juliet 158, and is the first one to have turned, but we have one P3, that's Philippe, I think, from France. What is his? Philippe Gottschalk, right?
163 is Philippe Gottschalk.
And I just wonder, the ranking 1, 2, 3, 4
Oh,
on the left, this is what Condor gives as, yeah, the best score.
but Condor score doesn't mean anything here because it's according to the distance into the center point of each
Yeah,
area.
because Condor doesn't model AT races, right?
Yes, no, it might be part of the next version anyway.
That would be good.
I think many people asked for it. Now, interesting to see 163. Where is he?
1P3, you mean?
163. Oh, he just turned out the cycle, and now he's heading to Marrakesh. Now he has no choice, but not flying too fast and not spiraling anymore.
Are you talking about 863?
863.
Okay.
Because
And
he has a very good average speed. And now is 80 kilometer from Marrakesh. So
that is 863 is Justo Martin,
yeah,
Justo Martin
Custo Martin.
from Spain.
My point is, I don't know what distance is from Marrakesh, so I don't know how long if flown he has been flying so far. Yeah, so
1 hour and
the
26
risk
minutes
for
for
him is to
863.
arrive too early because he's 80 kilometers from Marrakesh, or even maybe less than that, and so 80 kilometers. It's less than half an hour, and so he will be arriving early, and that's not good for him because his average speed will be adjusted to the 2 hour time. So he would have better to increase his distance within the last cycle rather than to arrive early. Anyway, he must know what he's doing.
So who
Or
is
not.
going way to the west?
Papa
Mike Alpha Yankee.
Papa Juliet is going to the west. Also, let's see.
No, Papa Juliet is heading
Oh
east.
no, to the east. Sorry.
I
No,
was
sorry.
looking at Mike Alpha
Mike Alpha
Yankee,
Yankee. Yeah,
Mike Juliet at the bottom left of our screen.
yeah,
So lots of different turn points here.
yeah.
And
At this point, the last cycle was to adjust the distance compared to the maximum time,
yeah.
to the minimum time to be flown. So they must know what they are doing. They know their departure time. They know their distance to be flown. They know the altitude, so they
Yeah,
can very easily guess when they will be arriving from the point they are. So from the distance they are just now from the Marrakesh. Oh yeah.
So THB is Thierry Berthe.
Yeah.
From his name, I would assume France, but it could
Yes,
be other places.
He is a French guy.
Yeah, and he's also going towards Marrakesh.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, Tim, could you show us Mike Alpha Yankee? Just he's on the west side of the map. Just wondering.
Yes, good.
On the west side of the circle, the area is not going to provide any ridge lift, right?
No,
That's
it's
the
flat.
end of the
It's
atlas,
totally
correct,
flat
Jean-François?
there. Yes.
So people will be flying thermal there. You confirm?
Sorry?
I was saying that people who went west of the turn point, of the center of the turn point, will not have any ridge lift anymore.
No, they have not.
Because it's low
very flat.
altitude, from what we can see on the screen, low altitude.
It's very flat.
Hills.
It's just few hills and it's pretty dry and rocky, but flat.
So more thermaling.
So good thermaling, but no ridge effect. So it's just like flat land, plain, flat land gliding. No more maintenance one.
So Marcin MAY that we were just looking at
Good.
is from Poland. Marcin May.
Yeah. So Janis Teteris now is being shown. I try to see where he is. Oh, okay.
He's from Latvia.
Yeah. So he went to the extreme south of the last cycle, and now he's going to fly according to the good reach he has on the right, on the left. But GTD, Delta Tango, is better situated on the reach compared to
So
the.
it's interesting because he's going to be doing all of the flight back to Marrakesh with a lot of ridges to follow.
Yeah.
All
Well,
are
yes and
orientated.
no, because at some point it will be under the wind
That's true.
of the reach.
Mihaly, so where is
For example, Juliet Tango now, he will be
Kilo
crossing the
Mike
reach
India?
and going down to the valley, and
Is
it will
just
be
next to him.
descending
Okay.
pretty strongly. And QMI will make the same, and Kilo Mike India. Now, if you will see KMI, he has a very negative variometer,
Yeah.
-6.
So Tim, maybe you can show us the map. I'm just looking at it on my computer. It's
I just
incredible
want
to
to
see.
keep this one a little bit more, just to
Okay, yeah, yeah.
see the
Let's begin.
variometer being how the mountain will influence the variometer when you will be crossing this ridge here. Maybe not that bad because it's keeping the wind from. No, it's going very well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Mike
It's pretty
India.
good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to look at this map because it's the first time we see so many people all over the place. Everybody was together.
Yes, large dissemination of
Oh
different
yeah,
position, right?
very, very different routes followed. And I guess the number of how do you say crête? The number of ridges and
Ridges, yes,
alignments of
yeah.
peaks is very. I mean, there's a lot of them, so many options that can allow people to choose different routes and still benefit from some ridge lift.
So
Some
this
others
last,
going completely
yeah,
west are more betting on just finding the
yep,
thermals to make it to the end. Lots of different choices. Very
yeah.
interesting.
But to be honest, right now I couldn't predict who is making good and who is not making that good
Yes.
because I see 863 being high speed average, but maybe too early, so it will be losing time in a pretty an efficient manner.
So where's JKK? He was well. Oh, he's on the way. We see him is on the right side of the gliders. One of the most
Yeah,
and Yarmo, I assume has been yeah. I think he will have had a very good race because
but
he went south of the second turn point
yeah.
and then chose to stay south of the last turn point and he's following the ridge for a long time. Now heading back to the final point. 287 kilometers. He probably has 50 or so left. So
Yeah. Now the point is, did they fly enough time not to be penalized by this 2 hours story? But you can
Yeah,
see
we're
it's,
approaching the 2 hours,
yeah, we are.
yeah, so I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. So we have a lake here on the right side.
You see a lake?
A
Yeah.
lake, but we have damp. If you can turn the image on to see the right side of the progression team. Can you turn the image towards the right? Yes, you can see the damp here. So that's where the engineers are capturing the water flowing down from the mountain to feed the valley and the flatland nearby Marrakesh. Quite large dam.
So that's the northern part of the Atlas.
That's the northern part of the Atlas. But from this part, you have a lot of snow still melting, and so a lot of water can be collected to feed with water pipe all the city of Marrakesh and all the agriculture activity around Marrakesh area. Because 50 years ago around Marrakesh it was pretty a desert, and now you have a lot of agriculture and field being developed by collecting the water from the Atlas and being able to grow, salads and veggies in the middle of the desert.
So we should have people landing soon.
Yeah, maybe 30 kilometer, 863, 30 kilometer from Ariol, I guess.
Mm.
Yes, about 30 kilometer. And is high enough, by the way. He's 2,000 meter high, so he doesn't have any. So I think he's a good position, 863, according to the average speed. Can we get the average speed being flown right now, Tim? Thank you very much.
And maybe a view of the map. Well, no, yeah.
Okay, so 863 is 191. So if is not too early, it will be breaking a lot of other guys. Is that the highest speed from the group, or the 20?
On this screen, it seems to be.
Yeah, but it's not ranked according to. So, if it is the case.
Oh yeah, but by the way, I realized now this average speed is not that meaningful because it's the average speed. Is it compared to?
Condor, or is it the average speed according to the distance?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. I don't know, to be
Tim,
honest.
do you know? Okay, doesn't mean anything, because if it is Condor only, it's according to the distance calculated to the turn point. So the
Yeah.
center of the area, not the maximum distance flown within the area.
Yeah, yeah. So it may not
this
be that
speed
meaningful.
is not helping us in defining who could be the winner of the race.
Yeah, yeah. We would have to manually calculate when he left, how much time he's flown, and
Yeah.
the distance.
I thought it was average according to distance flown, but this data are taking out from Condor, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
Condor is not managing the
AAT.
AAT complexity. That's pretty complex. Now, as you can see, the guy who are flying low altitude, they will have go on the south if they don't want to be trapped by a ridge So I think,
So who are
for
we following
example,
here, Tim? Can you show
uh,
us the
Bravo X-ray Bravo
CM?
is not that high. We don't have any information about it. Okay, can you information? Yeah. Yeah. Bravo X-ray. He's 2,400, but he still have some ridge to pass over. So they are now very well spread out, right? you have you have people everywhere. That's the beauty of AAT. Yep. So it's about 2 hours after the departure time. So now I think he's almost nearby the 2 hours limit, team, or first arrival, 863. So what is his time from? Do you have it? 141. Ooh, it will be ahead of schedule. Definitively. He won't take 20 minutes. Maybe now he's 10 minutes away from the distance, from the arrival. So what he can do is he can go around the cycle to get the cycle by behind. I don't know whether it I think it will be enlarging a little bit with the distance and the time.
Is the minimum time 120 minutes or 200 minutes?
No, what minimum time is 2 hours,
So
120 minutes.
yeah.
And now you say, Tim, he has flown 1 hour and 40 minutes? 42, okay. Yeah, but he's terribly ahead of
So he's
schedule.
flown an hour and 40. He's got 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, no, he has maybe 5 or 8 minutes, not
Yeah.
more, to go. Ah, okay. And GKK, what is his average?
So JKK is an hour and 53 minutes.
Okay. Ah, but again, average speed doesn't mean anything. Depend where the town in the different area. So it's impossible to predict who is a winner here. But definitively, 863 will be penalized by the time minimum time he has not reached. He made too short in the distance.
Okay. I think Juliet Kilo Mike India, who's just behind him,
Yep. And
probably have made a good race.
Juliet Kilo is having the perfect timing. He will be arriving by 2 hours, I
Yeah,
guess.
and most, I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to, but many pilots fly with flight computers.
Yeah,
So there's a flight
all of them.
computer on Condor, but that doesn't model AAT tasks.
AET, yes.
But there's ways to get the data from Condor to either XCSOR, LKA 8000, or CU Navigator,
Yeah.
either on the computer itself or via serial stream to a smartphone running the
Yeah. Oh,
application.
yeah. Well, all
And
these gliders, they are very recent. Oh, you mean about the Condor people?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
They,
Condor.
but they have the same kind of computer compared to the computers that are equipping the cockpit, right?
Correct.
For example, compared to the one you have in your very nice glider.
Yeah.
And that's what is the beauty of Condor, that you can train using this kind of computer, because it's good to have a computer in your cockpit, but it's better to know how to use it
Yes,
efficiently for
before you
making this kind
fly.
before you fly. So that's a good training.
Absolutely.
And Condor provides an excellent tool to provide to train yourself about the use of these fantastic tools, but very difficult to manage, by the way.
Yeah, and I've done that. Yeah, yeah, connecting the output of Condor to
To
a
your
serial
yeah yes
stream that then gets to this phone.
yeah or to
It's
any
very convenient.
we have what we call portable device PDA, um, and and if you can remove it from your cockpit and put it on your desk, you can easily connect it to Condor by Wi-Fi.
So 863
So
is about
it's
to
just
arrive.
arriving here.
Yeah, and that is Justo Martin from Spain, but
So is way over the limit altitude.
yeah, yeah, he's too
So
early.
so I don't know. I don't know what it is doing
Well, it makes
in golfing.
it was not that important for him to fly faster because he's too early,
Yeah.
and he's
I think he's just realizing how early he is now.
yeah, and he could maximize the distance, as you said, going around the circle.
Yeah, he could go behind here,
Yeah,
and it
so
will be considered as improved distances. So you may not know that.
yeah, I was wondering about the same. Then behind him is Yarmo.
So what is the timing flown for 8363? Is just past the line.
So he flew 349 kilometers over 2 hours. We could calculate his average speed, but I'm too lazy to do it. Yarmo is the second to arrive. What is the minimum arrival altitude for the task?
It's well, I think we said 900. Oh, it will be good. 900.
260. What's the VNE of the EB29?
I guess it's about 260. I will say that.
And then if I look at my map on my computer, we have Kilo Mike India.
Max speed for EB29 is 270.
Okay. And yeah,
Okay.
so this is the ground speed, and they have a little bit of wind against them,
And
right?
front, yes.
A little bit.
Well,
Mihaly,
they have 10 kilometers per hour.
who
So
will be the
they are
third to
close
cross
to
the
they
line.
are very close. Now he has to take care because 900 is the minimum altitude for arrival. No, I think he will be good. He will be good.
Yeah, and he probably has so much energy he could restitute as altitude.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried. Then, yeah, we're saying is Kilo Mike India that we're looking at right now will be the third to cross the line.
Yes.
Um, this is Mihaly from Hungary.
Mhm.
If I look at the map behind him, we have Juliet Tango, who's Yanis Teteris from Latvia. Again, this is just the order of arrival, really doesn't give us much
No,
information
yeah,
about their
yeah,
performance overall, because
yes,
we don't know how
exactly.
much distance they've flown, and we don't know at what time they crossed the start line.
Across the line, yes.
Behind will be Papa Juliet,
Yeah,
who's
Juliet
Pierre-Jean
Tango, Juliet
Vincent
Tango.
from France. Oh, a bunch of French guys. EQ is Emmanuel,
Emmanuel Cartier, yes.
correct.
And now arriving is the Janis Teteris. Juliet Tango.
And after Emmanuel, we should
But
have
Janis will be below altitude. He has to make a
pull up.
yeah. He's catching up. 99398.
Yeah, and
It will
still,
be good. He had a lot of speed, so you can
yes.
even, by slowing down, you get more altitude.
So no.
And now Pierre-Jean Vincent arriving. Same, pretty low, but I guess it will be okay. 980. But speed is not that high, 230.
Yeah, so on the map, after him will be Emmanuel,
Uh-huh.
Echo Quebec. Probably, well, no, they're close. If we'll have Golf Delta Tango, who's Gilles Dehan from France.
No.
Tango Hotel Bravo is very. I'm not sure what their altitudes are, but
Pierre-Jean Vincent is just crossing the line at 910, so no penalty for the altitude. And now Emmanuel Cartier.
THP is Thierry Berthe from France.
Same Emmanuel Cartier is not very high speed. He's only 224 kilometers per hour. So it's not that much. As you can see, the land here, it must be in the dry season, so it's very brown. It's as brown as our airfield in July, right?
Mhm.
But you can see also that there are some agricultural activity. You have fields that obviously are maintained in good conditions, and farms.
Tim, can we maybe take a look at the map to see where the rest of the pilots is? I assume everybody has.
Yes. Now, some are a little bit lost in translation. All right, very far anyway. But for example, Mike Alpha Yankee, he made a very large detour in the different AAT
Yeah.
area, and I don't know what kind of average speed he could have done here. So the point is, AAT is very difficult to predict what the results are just by seeing the maps, because it's exclusively it depends of the distance flown compared to the time they made. So it's very difficult to make any prediction to who is the winner without making very complex calculation to define that.
Yes.
So I think the computer will come up with a result by the end of next day, when all the series will be flown with different servers to cover the entire world.
And the results will be visible on
Condor.
condor.club.
Yes.
Am I right?
I guess.
The website.
Mhm.
So some races, some Condor races are flown, and scoring is made out of analyzing the IGC files with tools like CU,
Yeah.
and usually in that case published on Soaring Spot, though there could be other platforms. For the World Series, the choice has been to go with Condor Club.
Yeah.
That
Because as you know, the scoring is kept much simpler. In some competition, we analyze some kind of dangerous flight, collision, you know, people behavior when they go out
I know
landing.
very well for having been a scorer. Yes.
So, but for so large races, you cannot do that. You have three sequence of servers at different timing and so on. So it's pretty unfeasible to adopt this kind of high degree of precision for scoring. So
I see that Echo Quebec, Emmanuel Cartier, entered the circle, then exited it and entered back. But I assume that for AAT, it's the first entry point that counts, or is it the second? Maybe
um,
Tim, can you show us the a zoom of the map
I have no clue. I think that's the first entry point. Yes.
and zoom on the final circle?
Yeah. Once you are entered, you cross the line.
Yeah, so it's
I
not when
think.
people
I
who
think.
leave and come back, it will
Yeah.
be only the
Well,
first.
my point is, yeah, yeah,
We assume
to
it's
go on the runway because the runway is, wow, yeah, is south north.
yeah. I think it's just
Well,
for their approach that
it's
they.
not clear where the facing wind is. I would have said that's the other side, but I guess all people are taking the same way to land in order to avoid conflicting trajectories for landing. So once the first guy, yes, a few of them landed north, because the wind is. Well, no, that's true.
So I'm looking at.
Southeast. So yes, you have to land face to the south. But the wind is so quiet. It's not that important. You can technically land both sides, but it's always preferable to land front of the wind, even if it is very weak wind.
Good.
Okay, so I guess we covered most of the race. Nothing very important can happen now. We can see a large number of glider converging um, to the arrival. We only have one guy, 8K. Well, he's coming back apparently.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, for example, what the score will be of Mike Alpha Yankee. He's the one who went really west of the last turning point.
Yes.
I don't know what his speed will have been, but he made a different choice. It will be interesting to see how much he paid at the
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
in terms of
Yes.
his final
Yes.
score.
Yes. He may have, may have a clue of being a bit early on the finishing line. So he has decided to enlarge his distance in order not to face a kind of time penalty not meeting the minimum 2 hours.
Yeah. Good. I think we can wrap
Yes,
the.
I was very pleased to share this session with you, Mana.
It's a mutual pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you, Jean-François.
and
It was very interesting to learn so much about Morocco.
yeah, it's a fantastic country. I had plenty of other stuff to say. It's a very diverse country, by the way. You have very open, fresh, and humid part on the north, and very desertic in the south. And also the people are very diverse because that's a mix of Roman culture. You have a terrific uh, Roman cities in Volubilis. It's amazing. And then you had the Berber people that had taken over. You know, the inhabitants of this country before they were invaded by the Arabic people from Saudi Arabia, and then there was the Saudi Arabia taking over, and then the different culture mixed. You had a lot of Jude people also coming from Europe. So that's a fantastic melting of different people inhabiting this country in good coherence and good spirit of the Morocco state. So yeah, it's very nice country, and encourage every people to visit that country, which is very exciting and
Mm.
fantastic.
And I also wanted to give a big thank you to Timothée, who's in the
Yes,
studio that you guys have not heard or not
Timothée
seen.
is making an amazing work.
Yes.
I wonder every day I see his work behind the scene, how he can manage to do everything so perfectly. You know, so this setup for office, that's the nicest office I never had. All
Great,
right.
great work in the studio. Thank you, Timothée.
Timothy, and also we have to thank all the people working behind the scene for this event. Checking the task and working on the servers and so on and so on. There is a lot of activities behind
Yeah,
this office that we can thank all for the result of amazing result of the race being flown. Thank you, Mana, and
thanks, Jean-François. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Good luck to the pilots, and
yes,
I'll be
yeah.
looking at the results. I'm just
Yes, and
very keen to
please
see.
have a look at the result on Condor Club on the competition FAI World Series. And the
Have a
next
good evening,
competition
everybody.
is, and the next competition is
Is South Africa, if I
South
remember
Africa.
correctly.
Good. So
Yes,
don't
it's South Africa on March 23rd.
with other the same pilots but other presenter, and we'll not miss this one as well. South Africa is a fantastic area for flying, just as good as Morocco is. So don't miss it, and be there. Have a good evening, have a good night, and enjoy the rest of the races.
Good evening, good day. Bye, everybody.
And good evening, team, as well.